you could feel it.
Bożki. Where I get your smick.
The story opens with a young teacher named Emma working at a primary school in South Africa. Like most teachers, she shares a warm and friendly bond with her students. At one point, some of the kids begin teasing her about her holiday plans, assuming she'll be spending it with her boyfriend. While it sounds playful, Emma clearly avoids the topic. Not because she's embarrassed, but because her relationship isn't going well. Because of that, Emma decides to spend her school break at her father's house instead, hoping for a more peaceful and stress-free holiday. Before leaving, she takes a moment to say goodbye to her fellow teachers. She also receives a large bag from one of her cousins, which she brings along for the trip. Meanwhile, somewhere else, a group of men are seen preparing illegal cargo for transport. The group, led by a man known as Bossman, splits into two vehicles, one acting as an escort, while Bossman himself drives the van carrying the goods. Among them is Pete, Bossman's nephew, who looks extremely nervous. It turns out this is his first job, which explains why he appears far more anxious and inexperienced compared to the others. Once everything is set, the group sets off. At the same time, Emma continues her journey, calling her father to update him on her location. She even asks him to start a stopwatch, a tradition they share, where he tracks her travel time from afar. Their conversation soon shifts to her boyfriend, but Emma avoids going into detail. Her father, clearly concerned, tries to step in, but Emma stops him. She insists that she can handle her own problems without his help. After ending the call with her father, Emma receives a message that immediately ruins her mood. It's from her boyfriend, apologizing, admitting he messed up, and begging for another chance to fix their relationship. The message doesn't comfort her. It frustrates her. She responds, making it clear how disappointed she is. It's revealed that the reason for their conflict is serious. Her boyfriend had been caught violently beating another man. That alone is enough to upset Emma deeply. She hates violence, especially when it goes that far. But her boyfriend defends himself, claiming it was all self-defense. Emma isn't convinced. She makes it clear she wants someone calm, mature, and in control, not someone impulsive and aggressive like him. Not wanting to dwell on it any longer, she pushes it aside and continues her trip to her father's house. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Bossman's group runs into trouble. Their route is being monitored by the police. Their van is stopped, and officers begin inspecting their documents, including the driver's license. Pete, already nervous from the beginning, completely loses his composure. His shaking and awkward behavior immediately catches the officer's attention. Trying to explain himself only makes things worse, raising even more suspicion. The officer then orders both Pete and Bossman out of the vehicle and demands to inspect the contents of the van. From a distance, the rest of Bossman's crew realizes what's happening. Their operation is about to be exposed. They begin moving in, trying to distract the officer and protect their boss and the cargo. But with no backup, the lone officer quickly finds himself surrounded and forced to surrender at gunpoint. Despite surrendering and being willing to let them go, the officer is still brutally beaten and prepared to be executed somewhere far from sight. At the same time, Emma's journey suddenly comes to a halt when her car breaks down. To make things worse, she has no signal on her phone. With no knowledge of how to fix the engine, she's left stranded, hoping someone will come along to help. Meanwhile, Bossman's crew is getting ready to finish off the captured officer. Wanting to toughen his nephew, Bossman orders Pete to be the one to pull the trigger. But before that, he tells him to practice, aiming at a rock first. The gunshot echoes through the area, and Emma hears it. Thinking it's just hunters nearby, she decides to approach them, hoping to ask for water so she can cool her engine. She grabs an empty bottle and heads toward the sound without hesitation. But what she walks into is far worse than she expected. Instead of hunters, she finds a group of criminals preparing to execute a man. Then suddenly, Pete fires again, this time hitting the officer. The sound shocks Emma, causing her to panic and drop the bottle, which shatters on the ground. The noise gives away her position. Bossman and his men immediately notice and chase after her. Within moments, Emma is caught. Like a pack of predators, the men don't kill Emma right away like they did the officer. Instead, they turn their attention to something even worse, planning to assault her before ending her life. But not everyone agrees. One of the men, AJ, refuses to take part, clearly uncomfortable with what the others are suggesting. At that same moment, something unexpected happens. The officer they shot isn't dead. The bullet only hit his shoulder. He slowly gets up, rushes to his vehicle, and makes a desperate escape. The gang instantly shifts their focus. Forgetting Emma for the moment, they chase after the officer, firing repeatedly at the fleeing car, but none of the shots land. Until Bossman steps in. With a single, precise shot, he finishes the officer for good. Meanwhile, Emma uses the distraction to her advantage. Still restrained, she desperately struggles against the handcuffs binding her. After a tense moment, she manages to break free. She escapes. But instead of running blindly into the wilderness, Emma makes a calculated decision. She goes back to her broken-down car to retrieve the bag her cousin gave her. Only then does she continue running. Emma's escape only fuels Bossman's anger, but instead of lashing out at his crew, he stays focused. He immediately begins tracking her through the forest. Meanwhile, Emma makes a critical mistake. In her rush to grab her cousin's bag and phone, she leaves her passport behind in the car, giving the gang access to her identity. Still shaken from everything she's been through, Emma stops briefly to catch her breath and calm herself down. As she opens the bag, she realizes it's filled with camping gear. Now equipped with basic survival tools, she gathers herself and keeps moving. But she's not alone. Her escape doesn't go unnoticed. Pete, the same nervous man from earlier, turns out to have a special skill. From his time working as a forest ranger, he's able to track footprints with precision. Easy trail to follow. Using Pete's ability, the gang reaches a spot Emma had recently passed through, finding items left behind. From there, they begin analyzing her condition, assuming she's nearby but likely exhausted and dehydrated due to the harsh environment. Meanwhile, back near the road, a passing car slows down after spotting Emma's abandoned vehicle. The driver steps out to investigate. The man turns out to be Manny, an old friend of Emma's father. With no phone signal, Manny leaves the area to find coverage and quickly contacts Emma's father, informing him about the broken-down car and the fact that Emma is missing. The moment he hears this, her father, Jack, immediately heads to the location. While still running for her life, Emma suddenly realizes something critical: her footprints can be tracked. So she quickly comes up with a plan. Using everything she has, she starts creating false trails. The goal is simple: confuse the people hunting her. And it works. Pete and the others begin following her tracks, only to find themselves going in circles. Emma doesn't just make one fake path, she creates 3 separate trails heading in different directions. Realizing they're dealing with someone far more capable than expected, Bossman immediately splits his men into 3 groups to cover each path. Meanwhile, Emma, exhausted and severely dehydrated, stumbles across a small water source in the middle of the dry landscape. But instead of rushing to drink it, she remembers what her father taught her. Water can save your life, but contaminated water can kill you just as fast. Staying cautious, she collects the water in her bottle and uses a purifier to make it safe before drinking. What she doesn't know is that she's already been spotted. From a distance, AJ and Boyla are watching her, but instead of reporting it immediately, they start arguing. Boyla, who previously failed to capture Emma, is still obsessed with her, and instead of doing his job, he decides he wants to go after her himself. Even though AJ protests, Boyla ignores him. He demands 10 minutes, before they tell Bossman where she is. At the same time, Jack finally reaches the spot where Emma's car was abandoned. After looking around, it doesn't take long for him to realize something is very wrong. This isn't just any worried parent. Jack is a former Special Forces soldier, someone trained in tracking, survival, and combat. The moment he understands the situation, he immediately starts following Emma's trail into the wilderness. Meanwhile, Emma continues pushing forward, trying to stay ahead. But then, she hears something behind her. Someone is following her. It's Boyla. He approaches slowly, clearly trying to intimidate her. His words make it obvious his intentions are far from harmless. Emma tries to stay composed, but suddenly he makes his move. A violent struggle breaks out. Emma fights with everything she has, using whatever she can from her bag. In the middle of the chaos, she manages to stab him. Boyla is caught completely off guard. He never expected her to fight back, but Emma doesn't stop. She keeps going, until he's no longer a threat. For the first time, Emma has killed someone. Shaken, breathing heavily, but something inside her changes. She realizes one thing clearly now. Running isn't enough anymore. After killing Boyla, Emma wastes no time. She drags his body away and hides it, making sure it won't be found easily. She knows the moment they discover him, they'll know exactly where she is. But something has shifted. Emma stops thinking like someone being chased, and starts thinking like someone who can fight back. Instead of running aimlessly, she begins setting traps, using whatever tools she has from her bag. Every move becomes calculated. Meanwhile, AJ returns to where Boyla was supposed to be, but he's gone. No body, no sign. That's when AJ realizes something is wrong. Back in the forest, Emma carefully places her traps, designing them to slow down, injure, or disorient anyone coming after her. At the same time, Jack continues tracking her path. With his experience, he quickly spots signs of a struggle. He understands immediately Emma has already faced one of them. Meanwhile, the gang keeps searching, until one of the men accidentally triggers a trap. He's badly injured, and just like that, everything changes. Now they understand. Emma is no longer just prey, she's a threat. And Bossman, realizing this, becomes even more determined to hunt her down. As the hunt reaches its peak, Jack finally closes in on Emma's location. Following every clue left behind, he prepares himself for what's coming, a direct confrontation. At the same time, Bossman and the remaining men tighten their search. With their numbers reduced and pressure rising, they grow more aggressive, more desperate. Emma knows it's almost over. She can feel them getting closer. So instead of running, she prepares. Using the terrain and the traps she set, she turns the environment into her weapon, forcing the men into deadly positions. One by one, they fall. Some are taken out by her traps. Others, she faces directly. Until it all comes down to one moment, Emma versus Bossman. The final confrontation. Bossman, confident and ruthless, still underestimates her. But this time, Emma is no longer the same person he chased earlier. Using everything she's learned, she outplays him, turning the fight in her favor. And finally, she kills him. Just like that, it's over. Moments later, Jack finds her. After everything, they're finally reunited. Emma is no longer the same teacher who started this journey. She's stronger, hardened, a survivor. Together, they leave the forest behind, alive.